What's up, Brave Hearts community? This is Sean Heineman here with another segment of It's Scary to Remarry, wanting you to love fearlessly. And as always, I am excited, but today I have a special guest in the building. And of course, as you know, when I choose to have guests, I only pick the best people that I know that's going to benefit the Brave Hearts community and to those who are watching and all across the world or listening in the podcast arena. So I have special guest with me, Sherelle Thomas. And we're going to discuss self-worth, relationships, sex, and intimacy. So I know you all are excited about this as well as I am. What's up, Sherelle? How are you doing this beautiful evening?
Hello, I am doing amazing. And I just want to thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to the conversation that we're going to have, and I'm excited. So, thank you again for having me.
Yes, for sure. I've been watching your Instagram videos for a while. Seen you on a couple of interviews that was really good. I seen you on I think Chasing Yancy one day or something like that. And I was
That's
like,
where it all started.
yeah, I was like, oh shoot, I got to have her on the show. So of course I'll continue to follow your content. So thanks again for taking some time out of your busy day to be a guest on It's Scary to Remarry. First of all, tell the Bravehearts community a little bit about yourself and what you do.
So, I am a certified love and intimacy coach. I work with both men and women, helping them create a more fulfilling and satisfying love life with their partner. I help them do this by teaching them how to have a deeper connection with their partner, as well as mind blowing sexual techniques that will leave both them and their partner satisfied yet yearning for more.
Yes, and I know the viewers and the listeners are excited about that. I'm pretty sure you can help some folks out here during these trying times that we
Yes.
live in. Yeah,
Yeah.
so let's jump into this. Give me your definition of self-worth and how important is knowing your self-worth when dating.
So self-worth is equivalent to self-esteem. And basically, for me, the way that I define it and see it, it's how you feel and how you view yourself. Like, how valuable do you see yourself? It's all about like that love for yourself. How much do you cherish yourself? If you even cherish yourself, like what thoughts and feelings come up for you when you think about yourself and what type of love you have for yourself. So that's the general gist of it. How important it is when dating, it's very important because we're vibrational beings.
Mm.
So a lot of people are unaware of that, but whether they're aware of it or not, like we are, kind of like gravity, we are, um, whether you're aware of it or not, like
Mhm.
gravity is in full effect. And the same thing in terms of us being vibrational beings. So the way that it works within relationships, you attract people based upon how you're vibrating and what level you're at. So if you are seeing yourself as not good enough, not worthy enough, you're going to attract in someone who sees the same thing. They're going to mirror the wound that's within you. But when you see someone, when you see yourself as being valuable, as being, protected, as being safe, as being amazing,
Mhm.
then I'm sorry, I got a notification. I don't know what it is with this laptop. So if you see a hand raising or something like that, it's something automatic with Zoom, and I don't know how to turn it off. So it
It's all
just
good.
threw me off. But yes, however you view yourself. So if you see yourself as amazing, if you see yourself as fun, you see yourself as valuable, you see yourself as worthy, you're going to attract in somebody else who does the same, and they're going to treat you as such. So it's very important to understand what vibration and what frequency you're operating at, because you're going to attract in someone who does the same. That's why you see a lot of people like in relationships, and they go from relationship to relationship, and it's the same situation but different phase. That's because they haven't changed what's within. Like, you haven't changed how you're vibrating, so of course you're going to attract in the same thing over and over again.
Hmm. I totally agree with that. It's same relationship, different faces.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
because there's a lot of people that talk about why I keep choosing the wrong people, why I keep running into, and people that tell these long stories about these horrible people they've dated for years. And I'm just
Yes,
thinking,
yes, yes.
could it be that it's you?
What's the common denominator?
Yeah, right. And it's so
Exactly.
mind blowing to people. They like, I never thought of that. And I'm thinking,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
probably.
But in reality, like we haven't been taught that. Somebody actually had to tell me that, in order for me, I always thought that, it was just coincidence that I keep attracting in the same type of man. But in reality, like I had to be told to, look inside. And once I started seeing, like I would make a little bit of improvement, and then I would attract in someone who made a little bit of, who was also reflecting that improvement that I made. And then I started seeing it more and more and more. And I'm like, oh, wow, like that's me. Like we create our own reality. I came up with this saying that I live by, and I tell myself all the time, like this analogy, not saying, but if you go to the mirror and you don't like what you see, are you going to break the mirror? Are you going to change the mirror? No, you're going to walk away, address whatever it is that you don't like, and come back to the mirror until you see a reflection of what feels good. And that's how it should be in a relationship. I always tell my clients it's so important to cover your side of the street before going to your partner saying, hey, I'm not happy with this. Take care of yourself first before you can ask for somebody else to provide that.
I love that. Yeah, you can't pour from an empty cup, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh my God, that is so good. Yeah, because I think in this day and age, we just live in we lack an accountability,
Mm-hmm.
for the things that we do, and even
Oh,
having
yeah.
mentors and stuff, right? People that can help walk us along this road of relationships and even life in general. We lack that. I know Google's a great tool, but it
Yeah.
doesn't replace mentors and people that can really speak into our life. And like you said, you had to be taught those things.
Exactly, exactly. And I think it's so important, especially in the Black community, because nobody taught our parents, like, so we can't expect, for that information just to come naturally for us because we were raised looking at dysfunctional households. So how do you bring function out of dysfunction? You take care of the source and the foundation, which is that mental piece, but we're not taught that, and even with, Black men, like when it come down to therapy, it's a, ooh, I don't need it. I don't need anybody to teach me. But why not? If somebody's trained to tell you how your hormones affect your brain, or, how your brain operate, why not? Like, why is it such a why is it so demeaning to
Mhm.
have a therapist? It doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you mentally or you have this disorder. All it means is I haven't quite figured this out yet. Can you help me in this area? Like, it's just that simple. Like, you don't just come into this world knowing everything that you need to know. And speaking about mentors, like, I am big on having support. Like, how you mentioned about my interview with Yancy.
Yeah.
In the beginning, I've been doing this for about 5 years, and in terms of love and intimacy coaching, but I just became public on, Instagram and all of that, and actually putting myself out there in March of this year. But
Really?
why? Yes, March of this year. Why? Because I had these insecurities about putting myself out there. Yancy showed up. She served as my mentor. So
Mm.
it really shifted things. And because of that, because I had that support, because I had that sounding board, now look, like my business has grown tremendously. I'm
Mm.
here having an interview with you, and I've had so many since becoming visible. But it took somebody helping me and leading me to actually put myself out there.
Mm. Well, shout out to you. Shout out to Yancy as well, because I watch her content as well. I've been listening to her
Mhm.
for a couple of years. I heard her on a show called Mental Dialogue or something, and
Okay.
just been following her from there. People that has that sound wisdom,
Hmm.
I'm always a fan of their work. And also, I see you roll with Kissy as well. Kissy
Oh yeah.
Dees, yeah,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
Kissy, good friend of mine. I'm had to get her on the show as well.
Yep, she's another mentor that I just love. I meet with her every week. So
Mhm.
I have a whole slew of people like on my team. But and then I always give people like their flowers as well, because I wouldn't be where I am if I didn't have that support, if I didn't have that guidance. But yeah, I love Kissy.
That's awesome, because I tell people I would not be the man I am today without mentors.
Yes.
And even in the church community, right? Like I had pastors, because a lot of times people experience with church is bad, but I've had pastors who have spoken life to me and was willing to
Mm-hmm.
take time out of their day from their family, from their busy schedule, to meet with me, to help bring me along, to correct me when I needed to be corrected, and
Mm-hmm.
call me out on my BS, all kind of different stuff to help make me the man I am today. I would not be who I am without them. So I'm grateful for
Exactly.
those. So it's only right that we pay it forward.
Exactly, exactly. And it make a major difference. Like, it's how many people on this earth, like, we're not meant to struggle and, find out on our own. Like, we don't have to find out things the hard way. We can seek support and mentorship and, all of that to make it to our destination faster. And then we're positioned to help somebody else. Like, look at you and what you're doing and the platform that you have, the podcast, YouTube, like all of that.
Yeah.
It's meant to serve other people.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm also looking forward to more of your YouTube videos as well.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I officially started. I might be calling on you for some help and mentorship in that aspect. I
Oh,
absolutely, I can honestly say I hate like editing and all of that good stuff. So
well,
I'm
you
gonna
do
need.
it. Well, you do a heck of a job on your Instagram. Like, you killing it. I see some of your stuff. I'm like, okay, well, maybe I need to, pull a little bit of out of my toolbox to see, exactly what you're doing. Because I'm like, look like you're a great editor to me when you do your videos.
Thank you, thank you. But yeah, YouTube is a whole nother ball game. I don't have the patience for it, because then you got to sit back and listen to yourself. I don't want to do that. Like, let me just say it and put it out there.
No, for real. No, I hear you. Let's talk about female clients, and do they find that struggling, provocative, or maybe sexy to bed for their husbands? Do they find that a challenge? Or because I was watching one of your reels, and I think you was talking about that one day or something. So it made me
Mhm.
formulate the question. I was like, is that an issue? And how does that look? Do you have more parents that, I mean, more wives maybe that have kids that struggle with this, or maybe
Mhm.
single? I don't know. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a bigger thing. It's not. I think it's more so about being taught that it's okay to. um the biggest thing overall, which interferes with a woman dressing up for her husband, going to bed in lingerie and all that other stuff, and being sexually expressive, a number of different things. One, women have been suppressed and condemned for embracing their sexuality, so it's not going to change overnight just because you get married, especially if
Mhm.
you grow up in a Christian household. No sex, no sex, no sex. And then boom, you get married, you can have sex. Who taught you how to have sex? Like, a
Mhm.
lot of people learn from trial and error. So if I was condemned for this first half of my life, or this first part of my life, for having sex, or telling me not to have sex, that desire is suppressed. So then when you get married, where does it come from? Like, you can't just pull it out of the sky and like all of a sudden I'm this sexual goddess. So that plays a major part, the condemnation that women experience from dealing with that. And then the other piece is actually, when it come down to expressing themselves sexually, one, we're not taught how to do it,
Mhm.
as well as when you have so many tasks on the plate, like a lot of moms
Mhm.
disregard like that role of self-care, self-pleasure, like all of that, because they want to take care of their husband, they want to take care of the kids, they have a career, they're trying to better themselves. And then when it comes down to sex, it's the lowest on the totem pole, because at the end of the day, like, women need to be, we need to have that special type of stimulation in order to feel okay, I'm ready, I want to go. Men is different. You can look at a female, ding, I'm ready. Women, we need more than that. Like, we need to be enticed. We need to be stimulated. We need that emotional bond. We need to feel safe and seen in order to really be aroused in that aspect. So I think it's not really like a problem with putting on the lingerie and everything,
Mhm.
but it's actually getting to that desire. And then once you have the desire, of course, that's another task. It seemed like you all exhausted. You look at it like, okay, I'm doing this out of obligation, or I'm doing this to please my man. Let's just hurry up and get it over and done with. So
Yeah.
putting on lingerie is like the least of their concerns.
Yeah. Again, I guess too, that's more, it starts on the inside first, right? I guess it starts on
Hmm.
the inside and how you feel. And then kids, because I have young kids, right? I mean,
Hmm.
I have a 1-year-old and I'm
Oh, wow.
44. It's like, just thinking, I have an 18-year-old daughter that just graduated high school all the way down to a 1-year-old.
How many kids do you have?
I have 4 total. We have a blended family as well. So,
Okay.
but
Okay.
as far as in my house, my daughter, she graduated and she's with her mom. And then we have 3 boys.
Okay.
So we have
And
a
18, one. How old are the other two?
6 and 2.
6 and 2. Oh, wow. 1, 2, 6, and okay. 18.
Yeah, yeah.
Got it.
So
Got it.
that's,
Got it.
yeah, the way my life is set up.
Yeah.
Uh,
And you know what? I'm actually going to be doing a YouTube video about that, because people think that, okay, I have kids, like sex go on the back burner. Like, I can't, do it. And it's like a rare occasion. But there's ways to be creative. Like, I feel like after I had kids, like, I started having the best sex, like
mhm.
when I was married, with my husband, because we had to sneak into it. Like, that's what it builds, that arousal. Like, it builds that anticipation. And then, like, when you messaging throughout the day and stuff like that, it's building that up, as opposed to dating, when it's just like, especially if you're having sex before marriage, but it's just like readily available at all times. Like, there's no interference. So I think, like, when you can have a healthy and thriving sex life after having kids.
Mm.
And I'm speaking as a mom of 4 myself. So
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so you talking about experience too. That's
Yeah.
good. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to that, because that's something that really need to be addressed, because kids, they don't have any boundaries. They just come busting in your room. And I mean, when you got younger kids, it could be a lot. And
Yeah.
so you got to
Yeah.
sneak. It's just like, I thought I was grown. I'm still sneaking as a grown person.
Exactly. But it's fun, or at least it is to me. It's fun,
Mhm.
like building that anticipation. But I would probably, oh my gosh, like crawl up under a rock and just lose it if any of my kids ever caught me. So it's like I have to be very, very strategic and very creative, like with it, and playing games and all that other stuff. And I know for me and my ex-husband, like, one of the things that we was the number one priority is to make sure that the kids are occupied. And it's like a breather. Like, you need that time, you need that space, even if you are going out off to, have sex and do your thing with your partner. Just that understanding that they are taken care of, and we got 10 minutes, of uninterrupted time. You can make it a family game. That's the one thing we used to do. Like, if you guys sit in here and be quiet,
Mhm.
you win the game. And at the end of the game, you get
Mhm.
to pick whatever it is that you want. So just chill, stay here, don't move, none of that. And it was a win-win for everybody.
Interesting. I gotta try that, because I have not added that to my arsenal yet.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's what's
Put a
up,
good
boy.
movie on.
Yeah, right. Oh my God, because my kids, yeah, they love their little iPads and stuff. So, you know,
Hmm.
but I realize too, it's important, especially for moms, to feel that they know that their kids are good.
Yeah, yeah,
Just
yeah.
make sure my babies are okay, and you can have my undivided attention. But if the
Exactly.
kid's not good, there's going to be problems.
Nope. Exactly. Exactly. Like, you can't focus. You can't disregard that. So I,
Yeah.
I totally 1000% understand.
Mhm.
Safety first.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's important, because I think men need to hear that as well, because we don't think about all that. We just trying to get
Hmm.
it in, and you're like, wait,
Tunnel
what?
vision.
Yeah, right. Yeah. as my old pastor would say, the doors of the church are closed. So yeah, so make sure that the kids are taken care of, brothers, and she will have
Mhm.
your undivided attention. Uh,
Exactly.
how important, and because I seen this in the video, how important is having feminine energy for a woman?
Ooh, very important. It's kind of like having this, not tapping into your feminine energy. First of all, every woman have feminine energy. Like it's part of our divine being,
Mm,
kind of like gravity, like it exists. It's a law. Same thing with feminine energy.
mm,
But when a woman doesn't tap into it, it's kind of like having a luxury vehicle in your driveway,
mm,
and all you can do is look at it. Like you can't get in, you can't take it for a drive. There's no engine, like none of that. It's like it's not operating in the manner that you should as a woman when you
mm,
don't tap into your feminine energy. And it doesn't have to be this, I don't even know what some people think feminine energy is, but it's I say it's a matter of receiving pleasure, like receiving
mm,
pleasure, like owning the power that you've been given. And it doesn't always have to be equated to sex. It could
mm,
be spending the extra 5 minutes in the mirror, making yourself look the way you desire to look. That's feminine energy.
mm,
It's operating in this confidence and this divine power. Like, I know who I am. It's loving yourself, it's having that self worth. You think about things like creativity, things like operating from your heart. Like we have you see that thumbs up on the
yeah.
screen? See, I told you.
So that mean you preaching. That's all. They just
Exactly. That's confirmation. um, but yeah, like when we tap into that feminine energy, like we have a gift when it comes down to intuition and using our emotions to guide us. When we don't tap into that, we're left making decisions from our headspace, which is not how we were designed to be.
mm,
Women, we have that power to use our intuition to make decisions. And that's why I believe like women are so important and so critical and so valuable, like in a household, even with the man being there. They say the man is the head of the household and all that other stuff, but the woman is the one who can guide, give that divine inspiration that comes from within, that comes from God, and pour
mm.
that into your partner. That's what that union is about. So I could go on a whole tangent about feminine energy, but it's putting on lip gloss. Like feminine energy is not this extravagant thing. It's just tapping into the core of your being, of who you are, and operating from it.
Mm. Because and I always tell, with women, even if they're struggling in their relationship and stuff like that, I'm like, it's okay for you to operate in your full feminine energy because men love that,
Mm-hmm.
for a woman to be in
Mm-hmm.
her full essence. Cause it's like that's what we aren't. Like as men, we
Exactly.
we aren't. So we are naturally attracted to it. And when you really on 10 in your full femininity, there's
Mm-hmm.
nothing more attractive.
Sure ain't.
Yeah,
Sure isn't.
right.
It's kind of like a flower at its like biggest peak, at its highest bloom, and like how oh, it's about to raise my hand again, but you know how like a flower is just there and it automatically like attract in the pollen, the
Mm-hmm.
bugs, the bees, like
Mm-hmm.
all of that it need and actually to thrive. And that's how we are supposed to be as women. When we're operating in our feminine energy, we are receptors. Like we're meant to receive. And like, I think about like the body, how the body is made, like sex.
Mm-hmm.
Our bodies alone, the vagina, it's meant to receive. Like you're not giving anything out. It's the way that our bodies are designed. I don't think that that's by coincidence at all. Like
Mm-hmm.
not one bit. Like we are supposed to receive and attract and operate from that highest state of being.
Mm-hmm. I love that because there's so many, and I get it in this day and age that we live in. You got to operate in your masculine sometimes because you got to do this and that to make things
Mm-hmm,
happen because
mm-hmm.
things like that.
Yeah,
But and I
yeah.
even the other day I was talking to somebody and I was in a grocery store or something. I was somewhere, but I remember asking this lady. I was like, and she worked at the grocery store. I approached her and I was about to ask her something, and she had this look on her face like really, like I guess she thought I was about to try to talk to her or something.
Um,
And I'm just thinking like, why don't you just smile? You
mhm,
know, I'm like, there's nothing, more attractive than seeing a woman that smiles.
mhm,
You know,
mhm.
and it ain't even gotta be flirting and trying to take you to bed or something. It's just like
No.
be pleasant. Like,
It's attractive, it's inviting, it's welcoming, and that's all it is. Like nothing more, nothing less.
yeah,
If you want more or they want more, you got to open up your mouth and speak on that. But smiling, like that's priceless.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, because that's what it was. I was on Clubhouse and and a lady asked me about how can she attract, this certain kind of man into her life. And I told her, I said, smile. That
Mhm.
that 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 will help you right there. Your profile picture change. Smile in your profile picture.
Yeah,
You got to be
yeah.
inviting.
I was looking at Yancy had made a post in her group. She has a private Facebook group, and she was telling all the single ladies to like post their pictures, and like half of us was smiling,
Mhm.
and the other half was just looking mean, and it was like that's nothing inviting about that at all. Like, but I understand how some women can think I'm supposed to be this way. And their heart is not trying to say, I don't want to,
Mhm.
but their face is, their energy is.
Mhm. Yeah, because again, like you said, the inviting, smiling can invite someone, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
So yeah, so I totally agree, and that's something that I love the whole feminine energy, and then seeing how God created y'all, and
mm-hmm.
it's wonderful. What do you do when you're in the mood and when your partner isn't?
I think the most that's like an ultimate level of rejection, depending on how it's handled. But what I encourage my clients to do is to be proactive. Like find out what turns your partner on in advance. Look for cues where you know that okay, sex is off limits tonight. Like if they had. So when your partner is in the mood and you're not, it's very important, like before you even get to that state, to understand and have this foundation and this understanding of sex within your relationship. Find out what turns your partner on, what turns them off. Find out where they are. Find out when it's okay to maximize that opportunity to have sex. Because in doing that all in advance and communicating in advance is setting you both up to win, as opposed to having a rough day and coming home when the partner is expecting sex and it's just like, no, like they're not emotionally capable or physically capable or mentally capable of being able to provide and actually receive and enjoy that pleasure. So that's my first thing, is to know in advance. Now, second, if your partner is, if you're in the mood and your partner isn't, it's important to find out why,
Mhm.
because that's the quickest and easiest way that you can get your needs met, is to address theirs first. It's kind of like, getting to the source of the problem
Mhm.
so that you can get what it is that you want, which is action in the bedroom.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, because mostly men are more higher desire, but I'm sure that there's some women that might be higher, might be higher desire, you know. But I guess it depends. I think too, you need to know which one you are in your relationship. But I think it's
Mm-hmm.
important, like you said, to find out. Let's get to the root of this.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. In advance, and know in advance like what you're up against. And it's a lot of people don't do this, but it's very important to know that you're sexually compatible with someone before forcing everything else. Like So I've heard some people say, well, I got married and I thought that she would just have sex more, or, women during the dating phase withholding sex, and not wanting to be intimate while dating, which is understandable.
Mhm.
But then when they get married, they're telling their partner, oh, I'm going to be this, and that, once we get married. And then they get married. And it's like, womp womp. Like, what happened to all that stuff, that you're talking? So it's very important to know, like, what turns you on, what's important to you, know who you are sexually compatible with, and make sure that you include that during the dating phase and vetting phase. That'll cut out a lot of that. But of course, life happens. So, as you grow older with someone, things changes. A woman goes through menopause, which affects things, and even with men, things changes where they're not always able to get it up as quick as they used to be. So it's just knowing what works, addressing what doesn't, and getting on the same playing field that way.
Yeah, I agree, because when you're with someone throughout an extended amount of time, whether if you're married to them or you're in this relationship for years, things do change. And I think it's important to have those conversations, because when you don't, I do believe that's when the intimacy stops and things of that nature, because somebody might be too embarrassed to tell, I'm struggling with this, or I'm struggling with that.
Yep.
Or, I'm at a different place in my life. And because people rarely talk about sex, they talk about like the freak stuff, the stuff that they might see in videos or in movies, but talking about
the false stuff.
Yeah, right. But talking about like the nuts and bolts to it, very few people really take the time to talk about that.
But you also have to understand, like, the reason being is because they don't understand the nuts and bolts to it. So it's kind of like, going to somebody talking Spanish when they don't even understand it, So it's kind of like, and that's why I love what I do. Like, I love working with couples. I love working with clients. It's because, and that's another thing too, is like, people will say, perfect example, I get a lot of clients who be like, my wife don't like this. And it could be kissing, it could be being touched, it could be different positions, anything. And it's always, my wife don't like this, and she won't do this. Oral sex, like all of that. But I always get to the bottom of it. And then once we address it, we understand that it was linked to some type of trauma. It was linked to something that happened in childhood. So it's very important. Like, if there are issues like that within a relationship and within whatever, a marriage, is so important to get help, because there's blinders that you don't see. So you can't talk about it because you don't even know those blinders are there. But having the proper help can help you uncover and unveil all of that.
That's good. That's good. Because and I guess that's why therapy is important, right?
Correct. Finding the right therapist and finding the right coach, finding the right mentors, because you can go to there. Like, we tried within our marriage several. Okay. I used to feel so sorry for my ex-husband, because every time we went, they would slaughter him. And it was kind of like me watching abuse. Like, I would hate it. Now I wholeheartedly want you to take my side, but in reality, it's not beneficial for our relationship, So it didn't help to tear him down, because now we felt bad coming in, but after you came and you tore him down, now we got to go home, and it's like a double whammy. You ain't there with us. It's just me and him. But it's very important to find the right therapist and to find the right coach. And, based upon the results that they've helped people get, based upon your flow, your vibe. And then a big thing, one thing that I never try to do is enforce my opinion. I always tell my clients, the answer lies within. All I'm here to do is help guide you to it. That's it. That's it. It's never black and white where what I say goes. And I think that is very important when it comes down to therapy and coaching or whatever type of help that you receive. Never allow somebody to force their opinion or their judgment onto your situation.
That's good because yeah, we had marriage therapy this morning because we have our own therapists. We have our individual ones and we have
I
our
love
marriage therapists together. So we there's a lot of therapy going on around here.
I
But
love it.
it's more of, and I tell people it's not that our marriage is in shambles, it's just because it's like the oil
Correct.
change, right? You just need the
Exactly.
maintenance.
Yes. Yep. Yep. And it's okay. Not only is it okay, like my therapist, I see her once a week. I've been seeing her once a week since May of last year when all that stuff happened
Hmm.
with the civil unrest and all that.
Oh,
And I tell her all the time, she my paid best friend. Like what I say, I can go out, I can lay it all out. And I know that it's between me and her. I know she ain't gonna judge me. And she
mhm.
tell it to me like it is. Like, so I love therapy. Okay. Like I am big on therapy. The
Me too.
right therapy.
I know, right? And I'm glad you said that. It's almost like dating, right? You like,
Yep.
I don't know if this is going to work.
That compatibility.
Yeah, you gotta have it because I've been to maybe like this is my third therapist by now. And I guess I'm getting off track, but while we here, might as well
No, you
talk
could.
about it. But this is my third therapist, maybe going on 3 years because I've been with my first therapist for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually, I end up switching out or whatever. And I went to one lady and she was cool or whatever, but I was like, I don't know if I'm just not feeling it. I'm like, so now the lady that I have now, she's awesome, and I'm glad that
Mm-hmm.
I was able to find that right person because I guess that can become a job within itself. Like you say, finding the right therapist. You like,
Exactly.
you know, uh,
Yep.
out to
Yep.
Psychology Today. I like Psychology Today because they give you nice options, but uh, they're not paying me for this. But anyway,
Right.
yeah, therapy is definitely necessary. Oh, and that's what I meant to say about that. That's what it was about therapy because I remember a lady asked me. She thought that my wife was sending me to therapy. I'm like, no, I'm doing this for me. She thought like my wife was like, no, you need to. I'm like, nah, this is for my own well being.
Exactly.
I love me. She's not pushing me into this. This is for this is for me.
Man, I love that. And I hope you continue putting it out there so, you can be an example for others to do it for you. No, not anybody else, but do it for you.
Yeah, because sometimes it can suck, but you know what? Sometimes it's necessary. You like they call me out on my BS, and that's
Yes.
something I need to tighten up. And it's okay.
Yep.
You'll be better on the other end.
Exactly. I tell people all the time. Well, my coach tell me, she tell me like you have to go through what she say, the easiest way is to go through it, like not putting
Mhm.
it under the rug. Like the easiest way to get over it is to go through it. That's what it is. The easiest way to get over it is to go through it. And a lot of times we suppress these emotions when they're really coming up to be healed. But if we don't have that outlet and we don't have that source to go and get the healing to help us go through it, it just keep, kind of like an athlete with a broken finger. You learn to cope with it. And you can't use that broken finger to the way it's supposed to function, but you learn to cope with it.
Mhm. It's so true. So true. I was watching in one of your reels, you talked about sex and money. I think you had a whole bunch of views on this, and I was just like, I have to talk about this because the numbers were crazy in this reel. And you said they should not be used in exchange for love. And can you expound on that reel on Instagram? Because there's something I want to say, but I'm gonna wait for you
Okay.
because I want to be politically
So
correct.
the reel that I did was just expressing that sex and money should not be used in exchange for one another.
Mhm.
Sex is sex, money is money. Both of them are expressions of love.
Mhm.
But the way that we've been taught in society, the way we've been conditioned, a lot of people think that, okay, if I have sex, there has to be some type of financial skin in the game. And guys think, I'm gonna give you this finances or whatever, which means you should be giving it up. Like if
Mhm.
I'm taking you out on a date, you should be giving it up. And for me, I say it's BS. Like I'm going to have sex with you because I want to have sex with you. It's an expression of love. With a man, you give money because you want to give money. It's an expression of love. I had one client who came to me and she was just like, my car broke down and he won't get it fixed. And it's $600 to get it fixed. And if I'm having sex with him, he should be getting it fixed. I'm not
Mhm.
going to have sex with him until he get it fixed. No, that's not how it works. Like, are you in the escorting service? Like, are you in, like, no, that's not, you're in a relationship. If
Yes.
you need the finances, you ask for the finances, but don't use your body in exchange for the finances. Like,
Mhm.
I feel like it take away from the sacredness of it, like all of that. It should not be used in exchange for one another. I know they have this meme going around where it's like $40, like that's the new thing. Like you
Yeah.
leave $40 on. I will be damned. Like if I'm doing it for $40, like that's it. Like no way,
forty
no way.
dollars You can barely get a number
Exactly.
two at McDonald's for $40.
Exactly. Exactly. No, thank you. So
Yeah.
that's what I mean about not using sex in exchange for money.
That's good. I like that because I think we intertwine those two when it comes to culture.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like you said, most guys, I think we even trained that in order to have sex, you have to
Spend
do,
money.
yeah, you know. So of course, guys that they want to take you to a 5-star restaurant because they thinking I got to get this because I really want to have sex with her. So I'm not going to take her to Starbucks. I'm going to take her
Yeah.
to.
Yes. Yes. It's crazy. It's
Mm,
crazy. I know this one guy. My heart go out to a lot of the men because some of them have no clue. But this one guy messaged me and he says, I feel bad for saying this, but he said, I would like to take you out on a date on my expense. And I was like thinking to myself,
mm,
who else gonna expense it? You asking me out. You think that's a nice gesture?
mhm.
Like I was just like, oh my gosh, like my heart goes out to some of these people dating nowadays.
Yeah, I want to talk. Yeah, that's another show within itself because I want to talk about that because I think that's a big issue with
Mhm.
relationships today, especially when you hear Clubhouse and even some
Oh
stuff on
yeah.
Twitter. There's so many people, especially even the younger generation, where they feel that I gotta have the money phone on my Instagram. Like I got the money phone and it's showing women that I got money, so it's gonna attract you to me for so we can have sex. The more money I have, the more women I can have access to.
Mm-hmm.
And we
Mm-hmm.
still
Now,
have
don't
that
get me
mindset.
wrong. Like having money is a turn on for women. Like
Yeah.
we don't want nobody broke, living in the, like what can you offer? And I think that this goes back to that masculine energy, feminine, we receive. So we're operating, we're positioning you to set you up to win by allowing you to express your masculine divine energy, which is to provide.
Mm,
So if somebody is broke, how can you operate in your highest potential if you don't have the means to provide? And it doesn't mean you got to be this multimillionaire and all that other stuff, but it is, it helps. It helps.
for sure. Yeah, I'm gonna have to bring you back on the show to talk about
Okay.
that because I get that a lot from people, especially the younger guys that's in their 20s, maybe even early 30s. They still have that mindset like the bigger the bag, the more women I can have. And like you said, if I just want to have sex with you, it's just because I want to. Like that's your decision already.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that, that whole idea and that understanding, the more money I have, the more women I can get.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's from a state of brokenness. That's not from a
Mm-hmm.
state of wholeness. Why do you need all of these women? Like, what are you doing, with them and for them? Do you have enough to satisfy all of these women's needs and all of their desires. So I think that that comes from a state of brokenness as well. Like you're seeking this egotistical idea of, I have to have a lot of women. In order for me to get a lot of women, I have to have a lot of money and I have to flaunt it. But what they don't understand is they're going to attract in women who are vultures, as opposed to feminine, divine queen, women who can help you take that bag and multiply it, as
Mhm.
opposed to taking from it.
That'll preach. What a better way to end the show, dropping all these wisdom bombs. Oh my God, you're gonna help some people today.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes, for sure. Do you have any questions, anything before we end the show? Because I can go on and on. Like I said, I have to bring you back because we have to talk about this money and sex thing because, oh my God, I like where we were headed. But anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, anything that you want to say to anyone before we end the show? Any piece of advice, anything that you want to give to the listeners before
Oh,
we go?
advice. Yes, advice. So September is near and dear to my heart. I don't know what it is about this month, but it feels like, within the change of seasons and all that, it's all about like me setting myself up, me setting my clients up just to succeed in life. And maybe because it's the last quarter of the year, so it's this
Mhm.
time to cram everything in. And to me, September is personal. So the reason why I say all of that is because the foundation of how I operate in September is all about creation and being successful. What is success like for me for the end of the year? So what I want to offer is the process that I use to manifest and to set me up to win and to actually maximize my success for the year, which is clarity, love, success. So whatever avenue you are desiring something in, whether it's in your relationship, whether it's financially, whether it's, emotionally, whether it's what, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is that you want in your life right now, you still have the opportunity to get it, and not only get it in, but get it by the end of this year. Step number one is to identify what that is. Clarity loves success. Success loves clarity. Success loves clarity. Success loves clarity. Be clear on what it is that you want in order to be successful. So number one is identifying what it is that you want. Number two is actually feeling into the feeling of having it already. Act as if it's already done. And that's where you receive inspired inspiration when you align with that. Like I started off in the beginning, we're vibrational beings. So when you start feeling those feelings, inspired action will come to make it come into fruition. And then the third step, which is the biggest piece, is that if you have resistance, if you have negative emotions, if you feel feelings of not good enough, if you feel feelings of unworthiness, it's very important to address that and get with someone who can help you work through that. I myself, I'm in a crunch. My capacity is limited for the amount of new clients that I am taking on for this last 3 months of the year. But you can always reach out, ask questions. I'm open and available. You can find me on Instagram at Shirley Thomas. That's CharelleeThomas. And that's all I have to say. So I hope that's helpful. And just giving you guys something to work with, something tangible to walk away with and actually implement right now if you are experiencing anything in your life that you do not want.
That's good because I do believe that you have to believe, and you got to have those faith. You got to have the faith, but you got to have the works to go with the
Exactly.
faith, right?
Exactly.
And because even the other day I asked about with Miss Kev on stage. I seen her the Love Hour podcast. I always listen to them, big fans of the show or whatever. And I remember I was just like, man. So when I seen her post, I was like, oh shoot, because I was like, I always wanted to be a guest on the show. I was like,
Oh wow.
I know this is my lane right here. And sure enough, she's like, hey, I'm looking for some male relationship
Yes.
experts or whatever. And I'm like, I believe I caught that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and then to be able to see it. So I was like, okay. So now I'm just waiting on some results. So shout out to everybody who showed me love on that post. So I believe I'm going to be a guest on there. I'm looking forward to
So
that.
let me ask you this. First of all, when you're notified of that, so already like now, just start practicing how
Mhm.
you're going to respond, how you're going to react, how you're going to feel, and embody it and act like it's already done day to day. Now, my question for you is who's the first person you're going to tell? Like when you get that notification that come through, like, hey, we want you on our podcast.
Oh yeah, I mean, of course, I'm gonna let Miss Heineman know. I'm gonna let the wife know as well because is in anticipation as well. Um, so yeah, she's definitely gonna know first. And yeah, I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting on that email to come, or
I love it. So, with that being said, one thing that I invite you to do is to practice that conversation. Practice how you're
Mhm.
going to tell her. That way, you're overriding everything else. You just get
Mhm.
into the end result. That one thing that's easier than actually, you know, seeing yourself like receiving the email because then like that butterflies and stuff come in like, oh, am I gonna get it? Am I not gonna get it? We're going to override all of that, which is
Mhm.
going straight to the source of how you are going to be and start practicing that. I did that with Donald Trump, actually. Like when when the election and everything was going on, like I used to turn on the TV and it would be so close and it was like that anticipation and hearing, I'm like, gosh. So what I would do, I would turn off the TV and I would visualize him kicking and screaming and, throwing everything because he got to lead a White House and he don't want to. So when that stuff used to come up,
Yeah.
emotionally, I'm not going there. I'm not going to get caught up in the statistics and everything else. I'm going straight to the source. Him kicking and screaming, out of the house. And that's exactly what he did.
Yeah.
There was even a picture that somebody posted on Facebook and it showed him just
I
throwing up,
seen
like
that.
throwing stuff and everything. I was like, this is it. This is what I've been visualizing.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So same thing with you. Visualize that conversation with your wife,
Yeah.
how you're going to respond, how you're going to act, how you're going to smile, like how you going to message her, like how
Yeah.
you going to call her, you're going to run in there, pick her up, like whatever it is, visualize that and stay connected to it. Start practicing it over and over and over again until it become reality.
That's good. That's good. I'm sure I will let everyone know as well once it comes
Yes.
to pass. Sherelle, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be a guest on It's Scary to Remarry podcast. Let everyone know how they can get in touch with you. Give us all your social media contacts and anything else you have coming up.
We're gonna keep it simple. We're gonna do Shirelli Thomas on Instagram, which is CharelleeThomas.
Mhm.
Find me on Instagram. I do also have my website, which is CharelleThomas.com. You
Mhm.
can find me there, but we're just gonna keep it to those two things. And
Okay.
anything else that I have coming up.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't announced it yet. So you guys get the goodies, right? With my
Okay.
workshop.
Mhm.
My next workshop will be the art of seduction, just teaching couples how to really tap into their sexual power and embody their sexual power so that they can provide an ultimate level of satisfaction.
Mm,
Yes,
interesting.
yes, yes.
You heard it here first on this
You
Scary to
sure
Remarry
did.
podcast. That's what's up. Well, thank you so much again, Sherelle, for your time. I appreciate all the wisdom that you have given us today. So, Bravehearts community, make sure you follow Sherelle. Make sure you show her some love. Let her know that you heard her on the Scary to Remarry podcast. You can also subscribe on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. And also, if you can't watch this, make sure that you subscribe on Apple Podcasts and any other streaming platform that you get your podcast from, because you might not be able to watch it, but you can listen to it. So it's available on both platforms. And make sure you leave us a rating and review as well, whether if that's a 1-star review or 5-star review. Let me know how I am doing on the podcast. Give me your feedback. I appreciate it. This is Sean Heineman here at It's Scary to Remarry, wanting you to love fearlessly. Take care, people.